Hey everybody. Long time no see.
Yes, we're live. We made it through a land of deep sickness.
We are alive. It was rough there for a little bit. It was a little hairy. All right, so it's late. We're not gonna belabor it. We're gonna talk about some games.
The top 100 outside the 100, and we're gonna cover how many? 15, 20 games, maybe?
Yeah, ish. Something like that.
I'm gonna try to do better about not rambling on and on about the games. I'm gonna try.
It is what it is.
So we're starting with 166 tonight and working our way towards 151. So then we'll only have 50 left before you hit the podcast.
We're trying to catch up because we did more podcasts than we did these. So there we go.
Mostly because I like Terrible. At night, I'm like, please don't put me on a video for everyone's sake.
Right.
Am I starting?
Yep.
All right.
Whatever.
I'll start with my 166 is a game that I really like, and it's good for big groups, and that is Celestia. We actually have at least one expansion for this.
We have both. We have everything for this.
We have all the expansions for this. And you're in an airship, and you're all like in the ship together. You take turns being captain. The captain rolls the dice to see if they can navigate safely to the next spot. The next tile on these little, like, I don't know, floating islands or something.
Yeah.
And you decide, do I have faith that the captain has cards for those dice that they rolled or not? The expansions add some cool stuff, like you can jump out and get in like this little side boat. You can get in a parachute.
The side boat's cool, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
But it's fun. It's that push your luck. Just, oh, can they make it? I don't know. I believe you. I believe in you. Oh, I should have jumped out. Like, it creates really fun. There's a boat?
That's they probably made it. I don't know. Oh. This is a reprint of a game.
Oh.
There was a hot air balloon, I think, before, so I don't know what the boat is. I don't
know. But the artwork is really pretty. I just like to spin the propeller on the boat a lot also. And this is definitely a game where I'm not as worried about winning as I am just about playing, having fun, trying to push your luck, see how far I can go. But I don't. It plays up to like 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah, 8. I think it plays a lot.
So it does play a lot, which makes it really fun. And you've got cards going everywhere, and you're not sure who has what sometimes. Just a really great game. So my 166 is Celestia.
Yeah, that's a good game. I'm not sure where it is on my list, but I do really like it.
I hope it's on there.
It should be on my list somewhere for sure. All right, my number 166 is actually a game that we played with Katie's family like 5 times or something until we beat it. And I think I successfully beaten the game that one time. And that's it.
So hard.
And the game is Lord of the Rings. So this is a Reiner Knizia game, cooperative, one of the first cooperative games. And you're taking on the role of one of the hobbits. Pippin, Merry, Frodo, Sam, and Fatty. And there's Fatty right there, the orange one. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to walk through these levels of the board here by playing cards. You have to play symbols that match the icons on the board. And you can play 2 cards as long as they're different colors. There are special powers that can break some rules and all that kind of thing. But every round, you're going to flip this tile, and it's going to slap you around. It could move Sauron closer. It could give you corruption, which moves you closer. It could make you...
Not every round, every turn.
Every turn, yeah.
Every turn. Every turn. It's so vicious.
Every turn, before players get to take a turn, you're going to flip some tiles, and it's going to do some bad stuff to you. And it's brutal, but it's really satisfying when you're playing the cards and you're moving down these tracks. It's just playing the card and moving down a track.
Yeah.
Match a symbol, move down a track. Sometimes you have to roll a die that's terrible. Sometimes you get these events over here that are terrible.
They're also terrible.
If you get enough of these shields, you can call in help from Gandalf. There's only 5 of those cards for the whole game.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. There's some expansions. We don't have any of the expansions. We just have the base game. And it is a fun time. It's fantastic. It's kind of dated. It looks kind of jank.
Goodness.
But it's really fun. It's hard, but it is fun. So that is my 166, Lord of the Rings.
It's so hard. Like, unbelievably hard. But we kept playing with my family. And so normally I hate games like that. And I always played Fatty Bulger because if you don't read the books, you don't know who Fatty is and you don't understand why he's there. So it's like a deep cut. So I love that too.
And you get to say, he's Fatty.
I get to be Fatty.
Awesome. Yeah.
So my 165 is a game that Jason didn't like, and I think it's just
I've only played it once. I'd like to play it.
I think he just played it really badly is the issue. Because I had a really great time. That's after the Empire. So this has a really unique mix of like worker placement where you're like getting these things so that you can then build like your castle ramparts and staff them. Um, and then they get attacked. I don't love like attacking games, but
it's the game attacking you. It's not other people.
right. It's not other people attacking me. I can defend. I'm also trying to find the best ways to like fend off different things. Where can I bolster? How can I support? I like the tactileness of the pieces of building your castle with wood or with stone, and getting the different things set up. I thought it was really fun. I had a really good time. We don't own this,
Yeah,
obviously.
I don't even remember how to play it really.
Because you're going to this other, like you have like your castle board in front of you, but you have this other board where you're going around different places in town to try and get the things you need, and other scoring opportunities as well.
It's regular worker placement stuff there.
So I thought that's kind of a really cool combo, like where you go and like stock up, and then you're like, okay, and the wave comes. Like I just, it's fun, and I would love to do it again. It's actually ranked pretty high because it left such a good taste in my mouth. I'm like, yeah, let's fight these guys. Like, come attack my tower. Like, let me throw some archers at you. Whatever.
I don't think it's in my top 200.
I'm sure it's not. But then again, neither is
my list.
Tales of the Arabian
my
Nights.
list is messed
so...
up, and that one should have been. That would just mess up on my part.
Okay, 165 after the Empire.
All right, my 165 is actually a game that we picked up at Origins one year, and it has a gimmick, and I love gimmicks. And this game is really nothing but a gimmick. And it is called Four Gardens. Now, this is a game that was originally published in Korea, but it came over by Arcane Wonders. And let's look at this gimmick right here. So what you're doing is it's effectively like a resource collection game, and you're fulfilling contracts to paint these like pictures or something. I don't know what the theme is, but you're making a garden somehow. But the interesting thing is you're playing these cards that's going to let you spin these different areas. So this player's only looking at this side right here, but this player is looking at this, and they would get different resources if they activate different sections of the tower. So you're trying to play these cards, spin this tower so you can get resources that you want. You can only hold a certain amount of resources in this little wheelbarrow thing here. So you're trying to manage everything efficiently. And a card can either be, you can collect resources with it, or you can do like some kind of special ability. We haven't played it for a minute, but it's multi-use cards, and you're trying to collect resources and fulfill things. And it's a race to be the first player to complete so many different sets of cards. But spinning this thing around, collecting resources is really fun. And it's basically the whole game is spinning this little thing around. It looks awesome on the table, cool resources, and it's just a good time. So my number 165, Four Gardens.
I do like it. I would like to play it again, because you're even spinning different parts of it. It's not all always the same. My number 164 is a game that we haven't played in a while either, but it has this really great combo kind of layering, I feel like, that can go on in this game. And it's Ecos First Continent. So Ecos First Continent, you are laying out these hexes. So you've got different terrain types on the hexes. You can put different animals on the hexes based on kind of environment they live in. You can put also like trees and like mountains, I think, also like land features. That's what I'm looking for. Land features. But like when you are playing the cards that allow you to put out tiles or to put out animals, then you can then trigger these powers on there based on, are you rolling dice to get those?
You're pulling these those little rune things out of the bag. It's like bingo.
Yes, you pull like these runes out that correspond with the cards you have, and those runes will like fire off the cards to allow you to like maybe place more animals or give you points or place more tiles, or
some cards will fire off, let you cover up more symbols, and other cards will let you fire off other cards.
Right. And so when those like just start piling up, like it's really satisfying. Odd kind of looking art, but there aren't a lot of games that work like this. And I think it's really cool. I like the animals. Like the animals are kind of interesting that they've chosen. it's a cool game, and I just love that combo, like triggering that can kind of happen. So you can have like a really massive turn, and it feels like, yeah, I'm doing stuff.
I took it over to play with Jeremy, but I didn't get out of the bag.
I know we have so many games, but that's my 164 Ecos First Continent.
Yeah, that is a good one. All right. So my number 164 is a Cthulhu version, Elder God version of another game called Kingsburg. And this one is called Kingsport Festival. Basically, this is a
superior version to Kingsburg, in my opinion.
Superior version. It's a little longer. It takes up too much space on the table. Those are my two complaints. But this is you have 3 or 4 dice. I don't remember, but you're rolling these dice and you're using the die combinations to activate these elder gods to collect resources, cards, and to build these buildings in the center of the table. The buildings are going to give you like special abilities throughout the game. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to score points, but you're also trying to fight off the investigators that are going to attack every so often. Because if you can't fight them off, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, you're on the side of
you're the
Cthulhu.
cultist. Yeah, you're the cultist. And you're invoking the elder gods, and the investigators are coming to slap you around. And you're just rolling your dice, placing them, doing what the area says, collecting goods so you can build buildings, getting points, trying not to go insane, all that kind of thing, moving up on tracks, all the good stuff of a good Euro game. It's fantastic. Like, that's a lot of table right there. That's a lot of table.
It is a lot of table.
But it's a really good game. I think we got it for like $5.
It was a cheap buy.
We have both of them. We never played Kingsburg, but Kingsport is far superior in my opinion. So my number 164, Kingsport Festival.
Yeah, that one's fun, but I don't think it's in my top 200 actually. My number 163 is just a beautiful card game, and I'm a sucker for that. And the game is Fickle. So this is a game where you have different suits that are different kinds of fairies, and each fairy has its own kind of special power. And so it's a drafting game and a tableau building game, but then you're also using these card powers. So you are and there are ways to score, like if you have an odd number of a color or you need even numbers, like there are different ways to score the different colors that you want. And then when you're playing cards, they can allow you to manipulate other people's tableaus, move yours around. It's a really like a simple game. You do the same types of things every turn. You know, I'm taking 3 cards and I stack them up, and then I'm going to pass them either to the person to my left or to my right. And they're one at a time going to turn the card over and decide if they're going to keep it
I forgot how that worked.
or push their luck and go to the next card in order to try and make the most points out of their tableau. At the same time, then the fairies that they are playing, their powers are firing off, and each fairy, there's different fairies that do different kinds of things based on the type of powers they have, all the cool colors, all the art. It's like, again, simple to take the action, but has puzzly, thinky decisions. So I really like it. My number 163 is Fickle.
Yeah, that is good. I saw you playing that at the last Nerd Blues that it was maybe said. I was playing something else probably.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of played it.
All right, so my next one, 163, is actually, we just played it after I made this list, and it would probably fall off the list because I didn't like it as much. But it's on the list now.
Why do you even make the list? I don't understand this.
No one understands me. It's just how we roll.
Next year, we're just doing top 20. Doesn't matter.
But so this is the reprint of a game called Yggdrasil, and this is Yggdrasil Chronicles. And this is basically Yggdrasil, but with a 3D tree.
Okay, this is the one with the big tree.
3D tree, yes. And I feel like it's not as good as Yggdrasil, in my opinion. But effectively what you're doing is you're taking on the role of like a god, and you're trying to defeat the evil gods or whatever they are. I don't know. And you're taking turns by, you're moving around these different areas on the board. You're trying to recruit elves. You're trying to make sure Fenrir stays locked up. Trying to get these assistants. Trying to make sure hell doesn't get out of control. Loki's minions are at bay. And you're trying to ultimately just survive. You're just trying to survive. You need to do so many rounds in this one, depending on the scenario. This has a bunch of different scenarios you can play. But you're trying to just, if you can stay alive, you win. There's like 9 ways you can lose, 1 way to win, and you're doing things. This is the tree. It spins around in the middle based on some cards that happen. Stuff's going to get stronger. It does similar things to Yggdrasil, which I'm pretty sure I talked about on the podcast because I like it better. but
I still haven't played
yeah,
Idris.
I don't know. This is not bad, but I prefer the old and crusty of Yggdrasil.
Of course you do.
So that's where we are with that. So, yeah. My number 163, Yggdrasil Chronicles.
Do you have Idrisil higher on the list than this? Then
I think so.
okay,
I
didn't.
I didn't
trade
look.
it out.
Yeah, I did. I think I already talked about it on something.
Mm.
But who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Sorry. Goodness. My number 162 is one of those games that it's so hard that it burns my brain, but then it makes me come back and be like, I can do better. And the game is Alchemist. So the first time I played, the first time I played Alchemist, I was like, I thought I was good at deduction. What the heck? And the problem is Alchemist has not only the deduction part, but this other like board stuff that
This is the awesome part right here.
I don't really like. Like it is, I think, interesting to like test your potions either on yourself or on like your students. But
That's
like
hilarious.
publishing findings and selling them, and it just bogs down what I really care about, which is deduction. So that's why for a deduction game, this is really, really far down the list because there are other deduction games.
There's the deduction piece. Look at that.
I would much rather play. The first time I played this, I didn't get anything right. Like I couldn't figure out what I was doing. I don't know. I still don't know how I jacked up so badly the first time we played it. And I played it again, and I was like, okay, I got this.
Yeah, you like putting these like two ingredients together right here, taking a picture, and it'll give you some information that has to do with this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's different.
It is, and there's an expansion to it, but why? Because it's so bleeding hard.
That's nuts.
To begin with, like the deduction is difficult, as well as all this other stuff you have to maintain. So I find it intriguing enough to like keep it on my list. It may fall off eventually because there are other deduction games that I enjoy, like Search for Planet X. I think is vastly superior.
Disagree.
You're wrong. And also there's another deduction game that's higher up on this list that I like better. Like if we can't do deduction, like pure deduction, then let's throw murder involved, and I'm a big fan of that. But
that's true. I like that game better too.
I still find this game really intriguing. So my 162 is Alchemist.
That is a good one. All right, so going from that super crazy heavy game, I am going to talk about a drafting game.
This isn't like not heavy,
but it's not heavy.
Not.
And that it's a wonderful world. So the first time I played this game, I despised this with every fiber of my being.
I'm pretty sure you talked about it on the podcast. How much you hated it.
We played the whole game and I got 3 points. I mean, it was terrible. The game's pretty short. It's like 3 rounds. But effectively what you're doing is you're drafting cards, kind of like Seven Wonders if you ever played that game. You're getting a hand of cards, you keep one, pass them around. And then you're trying to use those cards to either discard them to get some cubes they provide, or use cubes that you're getting to build cards that you've played down in front of you so you can build the building to produce resources, income, all that kind of stuff. And there's other ways you're trying to get these points for these different, having the most cubes that you produce, that's going to score some points. You're trying to get these like female and male tokens that are worth points. There's some in-game goals on some of the cards that are going to give you extra points for certain colors, certain types of things you have.
I don't think they're female males. Isn't it like captain and...
They're a female and a male token. There's an orange and a blue one. I don't know. Lieutenant and general, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Orange and blue token. And then you're going to play over, I think, 3 rounds, and whoever has done that the best is the winner. We have an expansion that has the campaign. I played through one of them by myself. Not the way to play it because drafting by yourself sucks. But even without that, the base game is fine. You're just producing goods, turning cubes into other things, building cards, and you're done. So, yeah, it's a fantastic game. So my number 162 is A Wonderful World. Hello, best at Star Trek. I don't know who that is.
I don't either. I played this game and also scored like maybe 7 points the first time we played. But I was not put off by that like you were. I was just like, so you know what? I need to play better. And then I did after that. It is one more. And thankfully, it's really short that you play one round to figure out what in the heck you should be doing. Like, what should I keep? What's the possibilities? And then the next time you're like, oh my gosh, I'll do this so much better.
Yeah.
And it is true.
It was awful. First time. Every other time, though, I've had a great time. Just that first time, I hated it.
The first time was fine. My number 161 is a game from it's called All Play Now. Yeah.
Good job.
Look at me. BoardGameTables.com. One of their early games, one of their first games, I believe, on tour.
That's probably true.
Is my 161. And I grouped together the original On Tour as well as the new Paris and New York one. I like the standard. I think it's really interesting. It's a roll and write, but in a really, I think, unique way, because you're also flipping cards as well. Trying to plot a tour for your band across the United States in the original. And you have to connect numbers, and they have to go from high to low. You can only go either the same number or higher.
Yeah.
And whichever way you choose. And you're trying to make that work so you can hit the most states that are connected and get the longest tour.
Seems easy. But
it's like, again, the easiest, like, you roll, you flip 2 cards, you put the 2 numbers down. Okay, but where do those go? And can I wait for one here? And will one appear that goes between these 2 numbers? And are we just not going to go to the Northwest? Okay, that's out. Just those choices. And then, if that wasn't hard enough, the Paris and New York version is so hard.
One of them's harder than the other. I played both. You only played one.
I played Paris.
Yeah, New York is not as difficult.
Paris is hard. It was super fun because there are different little things like bridges to cross and things like that, which are really interesting. Different ways to score points that you don't have in the original. So I really liked it. But I mean, I don't feel like I've exhausted the original. I like the expansion as well.
There's also Europe, which we don't have.
Oh, we don't have Europe.
Just another different. It's basically this just in Europe. There's nothing special.
Well, I like Europe.
I know, but it doesn't, not like New York and Paris. There's no special abilities or anything.
Right. I play some people that don't like it because, like, it's too hard, which is interesting because it's not a difficult game. It's rolling right, but the choices, woof, are hard. That's why I think it's fun. That's why I keep coming back to it. So my number 161 is On Tour.
Yeah, that is a good one. What's going on, Jamie? And always best of Star Trek always wins that game.
Always win Star Trek, or you always win?
Probably On Tour. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, I'm terrible.
I always win On Tour.
Then
we need to play On Tour. Yeah, it's an On Tour off.
I don't ever play it. I never win. I mean, I play it. I never win. All right, so my number 161 is actually a game that I really like, and we just got a new version of it. But I actually prefer the first version.
No one is shocked.
Yeah. No, I honestly do, and I'll explain why when we get to it. And that game is 161. Santa's Workshop. Okay, so there's just a new edition that came out from Elf Creek. It's fine. It looks gorgeous. It has awesome bits. It looks way better than this one, and it has a basic game that we can play with our youngest daughter, which is awesome. It strips it down, makes it a little bit easier. But the reason I had this on it, this is a worker placement game about making toys, elves who are making toys for Santa to deliver to kids on Christmas. You're playing over 9 days before Christmas, and you're trying to make toys that the kids want. The reason I like this one better is you're using different goods. You're using metal, wood, and fabric to make these toys. But you can also throw plastic in at these toys and make them cheaper. They're worth less points, but you can produce a lot more toys because you get a lot more plastic. Look at that. 7 plastic cubes as opposed to like 2 or 3 of the other ones.
Have you won making lots of plastic toys?
I don't win games, so I'm not good. But it's an option. That's what I'm saying. It's an option.
Okay.
You can try it, and you can try to use these plastic. And you're just trying to go to these spots. You can go to the classroom, make your elves a little bit smarter, make them better at doing certain things. Go pet the reindeer. They'll give you cookies and special abilities. There's events that can happen to make it just a little crazier. It's just a really fun worker placement game. Cool Christmas theme. There's not a very ton of good Christmas games. So this one's out of print. You can buy the new one. Get the new one. It's still good. I just prefer this one. The new one, you will not be disappointed. It's still good.
I prefer the new one, actually.
The new one looks 1,000 times better, but I prefer this one because I like the old and crusty look. But the new one plays mostly the same. It has a few different tweaks, but yeah, it's mostly the same. So my number 161, Santa's Workshop.
I happen to like the new one because I like how the reindeer function in the new one. I like that.
That's true. The reindeer arc, but I also miss stacking the cookies on the reindeer. too.
You give the reindeer cookies. Hi, Mark. Mark and I both work for the Air Force. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah. So
That's
good evening,
crazy.
Mark. And Patchwork Christmas. We don't have any patch. Isn't there patchwork for like every holiday?
I don't like patchwork because my brain is dumb at shapes. That's why I don't ever
Yeah.
play patchwork because I
Or
can't
squares.
or squares. Just really anything that you have to like spatially manipulate successfully to win. I can't do that.
Best of Star Trek has all of them.
I want to.
I've never even played one. I want to play one. I've just never played one.
I want to be better at it. It's just like New York 19 something.
New York 1901.
I hate that game so much. I need to give it another try
Well, you're not gonna have ours because I got rid of it.
because I hate it so much. Because my brain can't like manipulate the shape. I have to actually move. If I could actually go out and move it, and it's not give away a strategy, then it would be cool.
But yeah, that's true. On
I-
tour is way harder.
but I
totally
don't
agree.
have to manipulate shapes in on tour, and that
Yeah,
is
it's
key.
more like a Sudoku puzzle in on tour, I think.
yes. So I like difficult games, just not when I have to move around shapes.
Yeah, true.
So my number 160 is a card game, and
Ish.
what do you mean ish?
It has a die too.
Is the die vital to the game?
Yeah.
Am I not talking about the same game I think I'm talking about?
I don't know. Let's look. Go ahead and say it.
I'm talking about a game called King of 12. Isn't this the one where? Oh yeah. It's like blackjack, but cards and a die. Okay, I forgot about the die.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, you're trying to manipulate the die to score points, basically.
Yeah. So this, I've talked many times about being from the Midwest, like card games a lot, like plays on classic trick-taking games, and in this case, to me, this feels this is a blackjack variant, where you have these cards and this die. You roll the die, and that number sticks with you throughout the game unless you can manipulate it with a card.
Right.
And all these cards, especially you're playing cards, then is it cards that you play to make everybody do stuff, or is it like is it something else?
It's every card does something. It could manipulate your die.
And we all play a card.
Yeah, right. Simultaneously play, then you reveal. Certain cards negate other cards.
Right.
And they manipulate other people's dice, swap dice around.
Move your die. Yeah. So which I like that because again, everyone's playing at once. We're all choosing a card. So I feel like that keeps everybody engaged. And then it's like that's one of those like games like, okay, like you think that I'm gonna play this card because this is my number on my die. But actually I'm gonna play this card because this person has this one, and I think they're gonna get this. And it's like this, like, but you don't know I have immunity to iocane powder. That kind of thing, like out thinking. But again, I roll the dice. The die is mine. I roll it. That's my number. And I pick a card and we just play it. And then it happens.
Yeah, and everybody has like the same cards to start, I think.
Right.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it just then becomes like I choose a card, but the choice of that card and why you choose, what you choose, when you choose, and how it unfolds. What other people, I love that.
And the cards fire off in turn order too, which is tricky because multiple people can play the same card, and then if they don't negate each other, it can get crazy.
Right. So yeah, if you have to play the same card as somebody else, they negate each other, and so then you've got one person just left with a card that may not do anything if no one else affected the other card that they wanted to. I like that little puzzly element to it.
It's a pretty good game.
That you're trying to get the high number to win. This is not
sometimes.
This is not the one with that I'm thinking of 21. That's a different game. That's Pirate something. Pirate
yeah,
21.
you usually want the highest number to win, but there's cards where you need to have the second highest. There's cards where you need to have the lowest number. So there's other cards where you manipulate your dice to be the lowest number, like subtract 47 from your die or whatever.
Great. So it just has a lot of really like fun, like card powers, who's playing what when. Like I like simple games too. So
no, it's a good game.
King of 12,
yeah.
160. I also like Pirate 21. Who knows where that is on my list? Who knows if I included it?
You probably didn't.
Didn't. You're one to talk.
My list is terrible. You need to do it right.
I know.
All right, so
someone has to have
my
integrity.
number 160 is actually a game we picked up at Origins this year because it was like $15. And I love
Sounds like us.
the actual game, so I wanted to try this. But this is a new one. It's not old and busted. But my number 160 is Joan of Arc, the Orleans draw and write game. So basically, this is Orleans, but instead of actually having pieces on a board, you're drafting these tiles here out of a bag. You're going to draw a certain number out of the bag, and you're going to go around in player order, and you're going to take the tile. Each tile is going to do a different action. It's going to let you move around on this board here, if I can find it. It'll let you do all these things on here. So you can build buildings. You can collect resources if you use farmers. You can get coins. Then you're going to have to cross off coins. You can use these little bonus areas up here. And ultimately, you're trying to move around this map, circle buildings that are worth points, because just like in Orleans, you're trying to get citizens and you're trying to end the game with the most points. It gives you the same feel as Orleans. Orleans is better, but it gives you a similar feel. It's way easier to set up. It plays a lot quicker because it's just a piece of paper and some tokens. But I think if you didn't want to have to take the time to set up Orleans and you wanted to get the feel of it, I think this would be a good substitute. Not better than Orleans by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a good game. So that is my number 160, Joan of Arc, the Orleans draw and write game.
I don't like it. I think it's overly complex for a draw and write.
It's
so
a complicated one.
you might
It
as
is
well
more
just
complicated.
play Orleans.
Yeah, that might be true. You might be right.
That's my take on it. My number 159 is a science game. And this company has made, blue orange? No.
Genius.
Okay. I don't know.
Genius.
Okay. Sure. They made other games that are also sciencey, but I haven't played them.
Genotype.
Oh. They didn't.
That's their big game.
Okay, I like Genotype. It's way higher on my list. That's on the podcast. Anyway, there's another one about cells and crap, right? There's one about plants.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I haven't played a ton of them.
Anyway, the game's Cytosis. Okay, forget what I said. Cell biology. I don't own this, but I really would like to because it's a fun worker placement game, and you learn about different parts of the cell, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
I'm not like a super sciencey person. I'm not good at science. That's why I taught English. We're in the direction. But I do like, to talk about the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. So remember that. The cytoplasm. The bits are cool. So I think it's a fun way to kind of introduce like cell parts. I would like to play this with their kids once they get towards like the biology stage.
The interesting thing about this one is you have to go to places to produce something that sends it to another part of the body. Then you have to go to that part of the body to get that thing. So it's like multi-step worker placement to get the stuff you need.
Yeah, because it is very thematic in what's happening in the cell, which I think is really neat. I like when games theme makes the mechanics of the game make sense. And I really think this one does that. And I like the colors, like it's like funky, bright colors. I like the pieces. I just think it's a great game.
All their stuff is really great production.
Yeah, what is it? Cellulose?
Cellulose. They have periodic table.
Yeah, see, that's what I meant those. I didn't mean like, obviously.
Yeah, Genotype is like
Genotype is a different.
Yeah.
It's like on a different track. But my number 159 is Cytosis.
All right. No list would be a list without some Marty Wallace. So my number 159 is a game called Toledo.
I think this is actually high on my list.
I think it was in your top 100.
I love
it. You like two Martin Wallace games.
That's true. This is one of them.
I like Martin Wallace games. So in this one, this is not a looker by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
This
might be the ugliest
Martin
Wallace
game. That
game.
is gross. And I think London might look better than this.
I think London does look better than this.
So effectively what you're doing in this game, it's a really basic concept. You are either on your turn, you're going to put a tile down on one of these spaces that's empty, building the board as we go, or you're going to take one of your markers, you're going to play a card and move that many spaces. You can play the same number and keep moving. There's some rules to movement. And then when you land on a space, you're going to do the action. You're either going to collect gems, you might collect steel, You might craft a sword. You might do some jousting, get some jousting tokens. You might buy some paintings. Ultimately, you're trying to make it up to the top of the castle so you can sell your sword or show off your sword. I don't know what you're doing with it, but you're trying to get rid of your sword to basically score the points. Your sword's only worth half if you can't get it to the castle. So you're trying to get the stuff you need, build your sword, deliver your sword. And after I think so many people have delivered, I think 3 swords, or there's 3 or 4 swords delivered across the game. I don't know. The game ends, and then you're going to add up your points. That's it. It's a really basic game, basic concept, but it's interesting. And it's way more interesting than I feel like it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super fun. And you can usually get it for pretty cheap. I mean, because again, it's not a looker. But if you like Martin Wallace games, you like interesting games with some different stuff going on, I say give this one a look. So, my number 159, Toledo.
I am weirdly good at Toledo. I don't know why.
I'm not good at it at all.
But there's like this kind of like balance you have to strike between where you're putting down your stores because you want people to use them because they'll give you cards, which in turn helps you keep moving to things you want to get. And you also want to build places where you can get your stuff from you for free. So like that really like I like that balance that you're doing there. And like I may want to get more ornate swords because they do pay out more, but it is more difficult.
You spend like half your game building one of these swords.
Yeah.
And you can do the little crappy swords, like 3 of them, and maybe be fine.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at this game.
It's fun. My number 58 is an old and busted looking game, I think.
Oh, it's old and busted. It doesn't look old and busted, though, I don't think.
But it has bits that I really think are cool. And that is Finca. So Finca is a game about delivering fruit on donkeys.
To the island of Finca. Yeah.
Around Finca.
Yeah.
So there's this really interesting rondel mechanism that you're moving around. It's got these like cool chunky fruit, wooden fruit.
Fruit's awesome.
I mean, it's cool. And then you have donkeys to deliver it to different places around Finca and certain amounts, different places. You're kind of getting these points for that. Yeah, it's just a fun pick up and deliver with this kind of cool rondel for collecting fruit mechanism.
Yeah, the way the rondel works is really cool.
Because you have to pass these windmills or something.
Yeah, you have to pass these certain lines. It gives you donkeys, but you can only move your character as many spaces as are on that blade. And then when you land on a space, you collect as much fruit as everything that's on the blade.
Like other
little
workers.
people. So like if blue moved here, they would get 4 of this.
Right.
But if they move off of this, they can move 4.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting, like, do you want to let your people stay there for a long time so you can move far? Or do you want to just keep moving one at a time and collect one thing and go slow? It's a really cool thing.
And if you get a bunch of fruit, that's great. You have to be able to really turn it around. Because if ever the pool gets empty of a particular fruit, everybody has to get their stuff back. And it really sucks.
Yeah, you don't want that.
You know what doesn't happen.
Don't mismanage your fruit.
So it does kind of push you along. But it's just like a fun little pick and deliver game. So my 158 is Finca.
Yeah, good luck finding that one. It's criminally out of print.
Sorry. Someone sold it to us.
Yeah, Freddie.
Look at you, Freddie. Thanks, man.
All right, so my number 158 is the heavy theme. And it's a cooperative game. Not one that I play a lot because the theme is really heavy. I don't normally care about theme, but I feel like you got to kind of care about the theme when you play this game. And it is Freedom, the Underground Railroad. So this is basically a game of trying to get slaves from the South up into Canada while avoiding slave catchers. Because if slave catchers, slaves can get lost, also known as killed, but they are, treading lightly. And you're trying to just use the Underground Railroad to get from the South up into Canada. So you're trying to get the boats coming down here, and you're trying to take actions to move the slaves up through these routes to get them up into the free territory, and the slave catchers are going to be moving around here trying to catch. Now, there's different stuff going on. Every round, there's going to be some cards that you can draw to help you on your journey.
Everyone has special powers.
Yeah, we all have special powers, and you're going to, there's some support tokens. You have to earn a certain number of support tokens, which you buy with money, so you can get people on your side to abolish slavery. That's kind of the goal, is get slaves free, convince people that slavery is bad, which seems
Yes.
like a no-brainer now. But again, that's the theme. It's a really, I hate to say fun. I mean, it is an interesting game. The theme is hard to say that it's fun, but I enjoy the game. How about that? I
It
enjoy
was
the
enjoyable.
journey.
It's not lighthearted.
Right. The journey of the game is fun, like the puzzle of trying to, manipulate the trade routes, the Underground Railroad routes, so you can avoid the slave catchers, or maybe like send them in a different direction where you can send the slaves up, or the slave catchers up through here, then you're sneaking the slaves over this way. Like, it's an interesting puzzle, and you're going to have to lose some slaves for the greater good to get other slaves up into
Which
Canada.
feels terrible.
It feels terrible. Yeah, the slaves are just naturally wooden cubes, so it's not like again, they're trying to be as delicate as possible, but it still feels terrible. But it's a fantastic game. It is educational. All the cards are like history based. All the people are historical. So if you're into heavy, it's not really heavy to play, but a heavy thematic co-op game, I would say recommend it. I don't know how easy it is to get, but it's good. It's a nice puzzle, but it makes you think, and it can be a little bit brutal. But there you go.
It's expensive.
It is expensive. We got it in a trade.
I think if you're a history teacher and you're looking to do something a little bit different,
oh, for sure,
I think this game is a great one.
Yeah, and there's sometimes I want to play this game, but I mostly play it by myself, because then it's not, I'm not getting it out from people who may not want to tread with that theme or whatever. Because again, it's definitely not a fun.
It's
theme.
not trading in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, right. It's not like that game Katie's going to talk about. That's a stupid fun theme.
Right. So moving on from that really depressing theme to, I don't know if gangsters are like a light theme, but you're like mobster animals. And that's Moment 57 is Good Critters. So Good Critters, you're a gang of animal mobsters. Someone is, I don't know, the Don. I forget what they call you.
I think it's the boss or something. Yeah, something like that.
And each round there's some loot that comes from, the heist that you pull. So the boss will, kind of ladle up the dough. So then, as shady character as well, you can try and like hold up your fellow compatriots. You can vote against the boss because maybe they just like got you out of some money too many times. You want to be the next boss. It's very take that.
Oh yeah,
but it's a fairly shortish game, and you're mobster, so obviously it's going to be take that.
Yeah, I mean, there's bluffing, but you can just basically pick on somebody, one person the whole game if you want to.
Yeah.
For no purpose at all, other than just being a jerk.
I mean, they can pick on you right back too. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere if you do that.
But you're going to have a good time.
But you will probably have a good time. And like the art is cute and funny. It's a good large group game. I think it plays 8 or something.
A lot, yeah. I don't know. I can look.
It plays a lot. I was just trying to see like how many characters there were, but
I think there's more than people.
About 8, right?
Yeah, 4 to 8, yeah.
So 8 people. So then things get really crazy. Like who's getting loot, who's not, how much do we have? Keeping track of that. Yeah, and the art's cool. So it's just it's a fun game. 157, Good Critters.
Yeah, we haven't played this for a minute. I think last time we played it, somebody got real mad. It wasn't me. I don't care, but
I wasn't mad.
All right, so Nightmare 157 is a 2-player game, and this is also a game that was at Target for like $5, $20, and now it's like $100. So I apologize ahead of time.
Sorry.
But the game, my number 157, is Spirits of the Wild. And this is a 2-player game where you are basically collecting these little stones here to make constellations on this player board. You're trying to get certain colors of stones to fill in these sections to get special powers or just score points or whatever. Like there's multiple different ways. So like the owl, you need same colored pairs, 3 points each. So 3 points for every colored pair you have. And then there's these clear stones right there. If you get that there, it's going to double your score. But once you put that there, you can no longer put any of those tokens over there. And then the clear ones are also the timer. Once a certain amount of those get out of the bag, not even in the play, out of the bag, the game's over. And you're going to be taking the actions by playing these cards. And eventually you're going to have to take a turn to reset the cards to get all the stuff. It's a really easy game to play. It's got cool components. That bowl comes with it, which is awesome. But yeah, it's out of print now. But if you can find it and you can play it and you like 2-player games, I recommend it because it is a good one.
Mhm.
So, Spirits of the Wild is 157.
I wonder why it's out of print. Why they don't do another print
It's
run?
Mattel. I think Mattel just stopped doing games, so somebody would have to buy it from
Yeah.
them or whatever.
Sure, you can make a butt ton, man.
I mean, I'm sure Hasbro could put it out and give crappy components.
Sure, but the pros.
Buffalo needs to do it. Yeah.
Hey, Philip Walker Harding, what you doing?
It's already designed. Well, maybe he can put in a good word for it.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a really good game. My number 156 is card drafting. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah, I don't know. Good luck.
Anyway, it's Trekking Through History. And this game is basically trying to get cards in chronological order.
Basically.
And those cards then are also going to give you like these symbols that allow you to kind of fill in this grid. This is another game that's sort of bingo-esque style, but not like we talk about Ecos.
Yeah.
To fill it in to get points and or like special like bonuses and stuff on this card that you got. So it's kind of like sorry, these two things happening. Like I really want to keep my timeline going, but I'm also looking to fill in this and
right, because you have to always play a date that's higher or the same.
Right, and that can be very difficult. Like how big of a time jump am I going to have? Because you are getting points for having those longer timelines.
The more cards you get, the more points they're worth. Yeah.
The components are really nice. I think the art is cool, like the colors used. I feel like it's called Trekking Through History, but I feel like it's a tactile theme, so you can use numbers. I don't think it really tells me that much about history.
No, it could be any theme you want. Yeah, whatever.
But I like it, obviously.
I mean, all the cards are like things that happened in history.
Yes.
So it is historical on the cards. You could learn something, I guess, about an event. And on the back, it does tell you a little bit of history of it.
I guess that's true. I feel like a similar game to this is
Timeline.
Her Story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Her Story.
But I feel like that is more educational in a lot of ways than this is.
You're just trying to create write a book about famous women in that one.
Right. But yes, this is like timeline. But I think I like this. I don't know if I like this one better or not, but I do like it. 156, Trekking Through History.
I like this game. It's super light.
Mm-hmm.
That might be my only issue with it. It takes a lot longer to set up and to teach than it does to play, which is probably my big issue with it. All right. No list would be complete without Wallace and Feld. So now we have some Feld. And this is a really good Feld.
Why is it so low? I have it way higher on my list.
My list is weird.
I'm almost positive.
Okay? This probably would be higher if I actually paid attention to my list. But my number 156 is Amerigo by Feld. And this is a really fun game. Katie talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But this is a game where you're dropping these cubes in the cube tower over here. And based on what comes out, what colors come out, and the amount of the most that comes out are the actions that are available. So all the colors, cubes that come out of the actions that are available, whichever one has the most, is the strength of any of those actions that you can take. And you're trying to move your boat around to these islands to build buildings. You're trying to get tiles so you can build buildings. You're trying to collect these resources and resource factories because they're worth points. You're trying to get these cannonballs to fight off pirates. Trying to earn gold. A whole bunch of stuff you're doing. Bunch of different ways you can go about scoring points. However you want to do it. Have at it. And it's just a fun little, I don't even know what kind of game it is, I guess. It's not pick up and deliver.
It's not really Rondell.
Action
selection.
Polyominoes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just play it. You can see what it is yourself. But it's a really good game. It's fun. Different actions you can take, and it's fun dropping those cubes in the cube tower. There you go. My number 156, Amerigo.
That might be my second favorite Feld.
Your second favorite Feld?
It might be.
Yeah.
It's not my first. I know
what your first one is.
My first one's the best Feld. Anyway, my number 155 is another card game.
I would agree with you on that. Your first one is the best Feld.
It is the best Feld because I love card games. And I also love a card game where you're getting points all the time. So you feel like you're doing a good job, even if you suck. And this game is Dark Tales. So not only is it a card game where you're getting points all the time, the artwork is like gorgeous, gothic-y twist on fairy tales. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, like full art cards too, which is awesome. Like, look, all this is art, and then there's a little tiny pet here.
Okay. But there are also I think 3 expansions.
3 or 4.
4 expansions. Little Riding Hood.
Little Mermaid, Cinderella, and Snow White. Yeah, 4.
So 4. We have them all. And this is a game, I think it's even great at 2-player. You don't get as many interactions, but you're playing a card. You're drawing a card and you're playing a card.
And raining down points.
And then the cards are firing off based on what's on them, based on the types of cards that are out there. Cards in front. Is it day? Is it night? Are you getting tokens? Are you playing tokens? Just constantly just finding the way to make the most points. It's not even like tableau building because you don't have time to care about the cards in front of you. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes, very rarely.
But not always. Some of the expansions give you other things to shoot for, like
dumb pictures.
In the Little Riding Hood expansion, like the wolf can eat Little Riding Hood and the huntsman can come cut him open.
Yeah, it's super thematic. It's awesome.
It is in Cinderella, you can match male and female cards as dancers at these different times when the ball happens, and that can be points. Just really interesting, gorgeous art, but pretty simple to play. I love a good card game.
Yeah, this game doesn't get enough love, and I don't get it. I don't know if people don't know about it. I don't understand.
Maybe they don't. I assume it's readily available. Yeah, we just saw it the other day at some store.
That Beyond the Board. Yeah.
Dark Tales, my number 155.
Yeah. It feels like a familiar card game. Play a card, draw a card. Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so speaking of awesome, I really like this game.
Yeah, I wonder where this is.
Which maybe you don't know what this game is yet.
I don't.
No, the people.
Oh.
155 for me is a game called Town Builder of Coverdin. I don't know how to say it. Oh, shoot. Oh, boo. Boo. Hang on. That was really bad.
James has all these tabs, and I'm like, I can see what the game is. He's like,
I know.
You don't know what game it is. I'm like, I don't.
And I accidentally bumped it. All right, let's do this again. Sorry. Yeah, Town Builder of Coverdin. This is a game where we haven't played it for a minute, so I'm trying to think about it. You have multi-use cards,
mm-hmm.
and you're using these cards as either resources. You can see there's resources on the side, or up here, or you're going to use the resources that you have to build them and get the special ability and score points.
Yeah.
And there's some different ways that there's different goals you're trying to get. So this one is fastest builder, score 4 buildings. There's different kinds of stuff you're trying to accomplish while you're doing that. But on your turn, I don't remember. I think you're either going to play a card to your tableau or build a building. It's pretty basic actions. You're either going to draft a card as a resource or build a building, or I think there's one other thing you can do. But it's really good. And that sounds terrible, but you're basically just using cards in one of 2 different ways as a resource or building it as a building, trying to hit these thresholds. And once so many buildings have been built, the game is over.
It's like, have I played Puerto Rico or San Juan?
San Juan.
It's like San Juan.
San Juan-esque.
Up a level, yeah. I think.
It's a little deeper than San Juan. I like San Juan, but this is a little more gamery version of San Juan. I can see that. Yeah, because
that's a better explanation.
There you go. Like you're building this card. You're trying to build this card here. And once you get 3 stone under it, then you can build the card.
4 stone.
4 stone. You can build the card.
It's not building.
And then you're going to turn it upright. You have the special ability, and it'll be worth some points. It's really fun. I like this game. We played it a ton. We borrowed our friend's copy, played it a ton. It was super good. And
I'm surprised it's so high. But again, rankings don't matter.
Yeah.
To Jason.
It's like whose line is it anyway? List doesn't matter. But yeah, that was my number 155, Town Builder of whatever the name is. Go over.
Number 154 has an even longer title, and that is The Legacy of the Testament of Duke Takeshi. We haven't played this in a while, but I really would like to play it again. It's Table Hog, though.
It is a table hog.
In this, you're working with your family over multiple generations, making advantageous matches for them, and then having offspring, going out and aiding the community, helping with public works, all those wonderful things that you do to make a name for yourself, to build a legacy.
Yep. You gotta have that legacy.
Gotta have that legacy.
Yeah, so this is one player's board right here. One player.
Because you get your family tree, right?
Yeah, you're building a family tree from the initial couple all the way down to like 4 generations. It's crazy.
Which I think is a really cool concept. It just does take up a lot of room. Do I know how your turns work? No, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, it's a worker placement game.
I don't remember any of that.
There's a central board
a
here.
tiny central board.
You're gonna go.
Which is crazy.
You have these discs. You're either gonna go out to one of these actions and take cards and do the thing, or you have your own little areas here where you can have babies. You can do some stuff.
We don't have to explain the whole game. I didn't say I didn't remember for you to take over.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But you place your workers to do the items that are going to build your legacy through your family. It's a really different kind of theme. There's another game that you played. You send off the kids.
Yeah, Signori.
Yeah, Signori. It's like that, but not, I feel like it's complex, maybe Signori.
This one actually might be more complicated than that. That's a what's your game, but I think this one's a little bit harder.
But I just think the uniqueness of it, the pictures of the people,
they're terrible,
are ridiculous. I love that. It's just it's a very different kind of game. I think that's why its uniqueness makes it so high on my list.
It is super different for sure.
So my 154 is Legacy, Testament of Duke Takeshi.
Good game. Good game.
Thank you. I thought so.
It's on my list somewhere.
Who knows?
Doesn't matter. My number 154 is actually a game that picked up at, I think, Origins this year. Yes.
Yeah.
The nicest booth ever.
Yes.
Last Night Games. And this is called The Finest Fish. Now, we have a video of this. We have a video of a lot of these games, actually.
Okay.
But this is a game, it's adorable for one. You're drafting tiles. There's going to be some tiles, and you're trying to build scales on fish. The only reason the reason that you're trying to build scales is you're trying to get them in certain patterns.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find a card. You're trying to get certain patterns next to each other on the fish, because that's how you're going to score points. So like you want these right here, you need those 3 and that. If you can do that, those 2 and that, you score that card, and it's worth like 3 points or something. Mm-hmm. You can also get certain points for blacks or some largest groups of colors. If you don't want to do the card thing, there's other ways to score points. Drafting tiles, putting scales on your fish. Once somebody's fish is full, game's over. 4 different color fish. They're really cute that you can build.
They are cute.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a nice little puzzle. It's actually a lot harder than it seems.
Mm-hmm.
The scale piece is a little complicated, but it is enjoyable, and it works at any player count because it's kind of a Zool-esque, drafting tiles, placing tiles, and moving on, and then eventually to reset. Done. If you haven't heard of this, check it out. It's super good. I like it. So that is 154, Finest Fish.
That's a good one. I don't know where that one is. I feel like maybe I've talked about it already. I don't know. It's really good. My 153 is a game that is complex. It's about time. It's supposed to be a pick up and deliver game, but it is like, let's make it as difficult as possible. And that game is Mercator.
Yeah.
It's also not a looker. That's not a looker.
That box is awesome. What are you talking about? Look at that guy.
Franz, isn't it?
Oh, 100% that
It is. It's my boy Clemens Franz.
You didn't have to ask that question.
It's actually an Uwe Rosenberg game where you don't feed your people. Really. But
That's true. There's no feeding your people.
This is before the aliens abducted him and said you need to always feed people. You are getting these. You're going to places to gather these resources to fulfill these contracts, but the contracts are never fulfilled in the place where you get the resources that you need.
Not a single time.
Never.
Not one time. Just one time.
It's never. And so in order to move, it does take time. If you want to move extra spaces, people can then also you can use time to piggyback off actions and sell in places when other people are doing it. So there's like a Vital Lacerda executive action feel there. Mm-hmm. Stuff can spoil. It's like, let's make pick up and deliver difficult.
Well, and then when you take a cube can be one of 2 different things too, which is tricky. So
right.
Yeah. So a yellow cube can be like one of 2 things, and you might need one to deliver this place. Yeah, it's
so you're like, ooh, which am I going to put it in? because some of the stuff does spoil and some of it doesn't, but you might not need it. And you can complete the same contract multiple times, which is really confusing to people.
Yeah,
You don't just complete it and move it on. You have to get a better one in order to start facilitating a better
it's,
contract.
it's different.
It's different, but man, that puzzle. I think that's why, and plus, my boy Clemens frowns. It just keeps you coming back to it. Yeah, it's good. It's not easy, but it's good. So 153, Mercator.
I'm pretty sure this is in my top 100. If it is, that my list is real jacked because I really do like this. This might be one of my favorite Uwe Rosenberg games.
I just don't. Yeah, it should be, but who knows?
I really like it because it's so easy to play, but man, it burns your brain.
Yes.
All right, so my number 153 is actually a game that I've only played, I think, twice. You played it with me once, and I've played it, I think, once solo and once with Brandon, and it is called Terra Mystica. And I honestly, I don't think any time I've ever played it correctly. So there is that as well. But this is a game where you're taking on the role of some like alien race or some kind of race. There's aliens and non-aliens and stuff. And you're just trying to terraform. You have a type of terrain that you like. You want to build your buildings out on that terrain, only on that terrain. So you have to terraform it, cost stuff, and you also want to build your buildings next to other people because that gives you power. Power gives you special abilities. And every round there's like these different goals that everybody's trying to achieve to score points. That's an oversimplification, but that's the gist. And as you unlock stuff off your player board, it's going to unlock special powers and abilities and all that stuff. It's definitely not a looker either, but I think I like it. If I could play it correctly, the problem is I don't play it enough.
It's in my top 200, but I don't know if I really like this game.
I don't play it enough to know that I play it correctly. But if I haven't played it correctly, I liked how I played it. And it has this track over here where you're moving these cultists up, trying to get to the top to score points. I love tracks. Kind of arbitrary, but it's fun. But yeah, it's a good game. It's a beast. Has a big rule book. A lot of stuff going on. Every player power is different. Every species or whatever they are functions differently, so it's a lot to learn, but it's worth it if you want to put the time in. So my number 153, Terra Mystica.
We played it once. It did not stick with me.
I think some of it is that I want to like it, so that keeps it.
Like people talk about it a lot, and I'm like, this doesn't do anything for me.
I want it to be good. I want to play it. I want to know how to play it, but it just doesn't pan out.
My number 52 is the deduction game. It's a game that I don't understand how it works, but it does. And that game is Awkward Guess.
That's true.
So Awkward Guess has this crazy card system where you have an app and you choose like what level of difficulty, and it says, okay, pick these cards out. So you are solving the crime. The host of the party is murdered. He's the one that's always murdered, at least in ours.
Never want to host a party.
Mr. Walton is dead. Okay, but he knew he was going to be dead, so he invited all the people that were going to kill him to his house or something. I don't know. So in easier versions, you figure out who the killer is, and I believe the weapon. I think you know where he dies.
Yeah.
Because you're moving through different rooms, you're asking questions. The interesting thing about this is when you ask for like, oh, I want to know about Angelica and the garage. Each clue card that people have has a value on it. And so they'll trade you a value of clue cards, but it's a trade. I have to give that value back if I want that information.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So you're keeping track of what information you do know, who's had it, where it came from, because you don't want to get it back again. A trade where you just get boned for a bunch of like, oh, I trade for 5, but I know all this stuff already.
Right. Like someone gives you a 5, you give them 5 ones.
Yeah, in order to find the suspect, like you're trying to figure out who's lying. But then in harder versions, there's an accomplice, so then more than one person is lying.
I've never even played that. That sounds terrible.
So like the difficulty, but I don't. There's just so many possibilities. I feel like you will not run out of them anytime soon. But I just like that the clue system and the way that you go about kind of negotiating learning new information in just a classic like clue type deduction game. So 152, Awkward Guess.
Yeah, it's a good one. 152 for me is a pick up and deliver game that also has some trick taking. And it is Tricky Tides. I don't know how many people know this game, but I really like it. This is a game where you're going to have cards, a hand of cards with like these compasses.
Yeah, it's a compass.
And based on what you play is the direction that you're able to move your boat across these islands. And also whoever plays the highest card of the lead suit gets to go first. You're trying to get to these different islands to pick up goods, to get goods, to fulfill contracts of certain colors. So like if I had this contract here, I need to have 2 blue. If it gets to this island, if I had 2 blues and a white on my ship, I can complete this contract. You're trying to just score as many points as you can. You have an animal that you like, a creature that you like, they give you extra points. And that's
The creatures also move around, do things.
Yeah.
Too.
And you can play with the monsters. They'll do special things like spit out some cubes, eat some cubes, all that kind of thing, just to make it more fun. There's events each round. I think you play 4 rounds and that's it. It's really fun. It looks cool on the table.
Artwork is cool.
Artwork is awesome. It has like an old school vibe to it, but it's not an old game by any means. It just looks like that. But fantastic game. If you like trick taking, you like pick up and deliver, this does both of those really well. So number 152, Tricky Tides.
All right, my 151 and the last one of this video is Majesty for the Realm. We were talking this earlier, and I just always get this game confused with other games. But I really like this game, and I wish we had this because everyone starts out with like the same set of cards, like they're these buildings, right? And you are trying to draft cards to go with these buildings in order to get points, which are like coins, I guess, are your points. And so you can move people around. There are some that attack other people. So then you can also get your cards into the infirmary, getting like groups of certain ones together to fire off with each other. I love games where you're like layering card powers on each other and they're just firing off. I would like to own this game because the couple times I played it, I'm like, I can always play this better.
Yeah, and each of the buildings are double-sided too, so you can make it a little bit more random too if you want.
Yeah, what comes out is different too. It is kind of a simple little card game. I don't know why it's in a big box. That's stupid. There's no reason for it.
Splendor designer. He doesn't know anything else.
There's no reason for it at all. But the game is just really fun drafting these cards. And again, I think why I like it is because you can go your own way. Maybe you're going to lean heavy into one particular color and what that card power does, as opposed to someone who's trying to balance all of them. I love games that do that. So 151, Majesty.
Those tokens are amazing too. They're like really nice coins. All right, so my last one, 151. I actually have a version of this game on here specifically, but it doesn't matter because they're all basically the same. And that is Valley of the Kings. And the version that we have is Last Rites, which is the 3rd one. But they're all the same, just some different player powers and stuff. This is a deck building game where you are trying to acquire cards from this pyramid. And then you're going to eventually you're going to thin out your deck by entombing the cards. That's how you score points. So you're getting cards, use them for the ability. Eventually you're going to put them in a tomb. Trying to collect sets of colors. If you can get all the sets of the colors are worth a whole pile of points. That's the goal of the game. Yeah, that's it. Get them, put them in your tomb, use them as long as you can. And once I think the deck runs out, the game is over. It's lightning quick. That's weird. And just, I enjoy this. Katie doesn't necessarily like it, but I like it. I like having to decide, do I want to keep the card to be able to use the power, and I want to put it in the tomb to score points? And do I have enough time to get it in the tomb if I don't do it now? That's kind of the puzzle of the game.
But it's my issue because it's over too quick. And then I feel like to call a deck builder is a misnomer because you don't really get to use your deck.
Yeah, I
don't like that.
Yeah, it's basically an acquire a card just so you can put it in your tomb kind of game. And you may use the card a couple times. But I like it. I've only ever played this version. I haven't played any other ones. But it's fun. And it's in a little box. So it's not that expensive. There is a big box that has all of them together if you want to do that, if you like it. but it's expensive, so I moved on.
That's why we only have one.
So yeah, so that is it.
Okay. All right. I'll count down my list since when you're watching this again, or you were like, I got bored, just wait for the recap. Starting at 166, Celestia. 165, After the Empire. 164, Eco's First Continent. 163, Fickle. 162, Alchemist. 161, On Tour. 160, King of 12. 159, Cytosis. 158, Finca. 157, Good Critters. 156, Trekking Through History. 155, Dark Tales. 154, Legacy, The Testament of Duke Decreshi. 153, Mercator. 152, Awkward Guests. And 151, Majesty for the Realm.
All right, so my number 166 is Lord of the Rings. 165, Four Gardens. 164, Kingsport Festival. 163, Yggdrasil Chronicles. 162, It's a Wonderful World. 161, Santa's Workshop. 160, Joan of Arc, the Orleans game. 159, Toledo. I can't read my writing. 158, Freedom of the Underground Railroad. 157, Spirits of the Wild. 156, Amerigo. 155, Town Builder of Coevorden. 154, Finest Fish. 153, Terra Mystica. 152, Tricky Tides. And 151, Valley of the Kings.
All right. Thanks for bearing with us through our sickness when we haven't been putting out as much content. We're trying to get back on track to finish up the top 100 and the 100 outside the 100.
Yep. So podcast should be coming this week at some point.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah.
We're going to try our best. So trying our best.
Either way, you got this video. Enjoy it.
I've been Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.